Hey guys, Rick and Duke coming to you live from the corner of the Pentagon and Woke Ave. Oh yeah, this ought to be a good one, guys. For those of you first tuning in to Warhog Words of Wisdom, thank you for giving me your most precious commodity, your time to tune in. For those of you asking who is this Duke character, Duke was my co-host, so Duke was my combat assault dog. We started the show. I lost him July 5th, 2021 to osteosarcoma. So, hey, we're going to finish this show. So, you want to know more about Duke, swing by warhog.com. You'll see a whole In Honor of Duco page there under the About section. Since you're there, go ahead and sign up for our newsletter. Trust me, we will not inundate you with a bunch of spam. 9 times out of 10, I'm behind Power Curve as far as my emails go. But since you're out surfing the interwebs, guys, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us a rating review wherever you're at on the interwebs, whether you're watching the video, listening to the audio. Hit them all, man. Swing by Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all that stuff, man. It'll just greatly help us out because, again, trying to get On the Range podcast, Warhog Words of Wisdom, Mark's Vantage Point to as many people as we can. The only way we can do that is with you because we all know that AI is out there just oppressing us. So thanks, Elon, for letting the truth be told. Don't forget, guys, you can swing by our Patreon page, patreon.com/On the Range podcast. Get with like-minded people, become 1% better every single day. Bi-monthly Zoom call with me and Mark, 60+ training videos in there, monthly shooting challenge. Man, we just have a great time, great group of people, and love to see them grow. So definitely a great community to be part of. You can swing by Vimeo. So we got our OTR training on demand as well. So just another option for you guys to be able to consume some good information. So we're going to jump right into this one, guys. Think about this. What would you do if I gave you 62.5? That's right, $62.5 million. Or let's do better yet. What could this country do with $62.5 million? What could a law enforcement agency do with $62.5 million? I'm telling you this, man. You can do some greatness with that amount of money. Greatness. And here we are. Our debt is out of control. Inflation is out of control. And our country as a whole, economically, is in the crapper. We stink. Yet, we can right away at least, and I'm going to say at least, right? Because it's probably going to go over. $62.5 million is the estimate to rename military bases. Because God forbid they were named after fellow Americans. That's right, fellow Americans. Now, granted, some fought for the Confederacy, and that somehow offends people. So because you had fellow Americans that stood firmly on the 10th Amendment, and if you don't know what the 10th Amendment is, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to have you do some research, right? Dig into that Constitution and go find the 10th Amendment. Because that's what the Civil War was about, was the 10th Amendment. Go take a look. So I'm going to use Fort Bragg, for example, named after Braxton Bragg, a North Carolina native. Also served in the U.S. military, in the United States military, during the Spanish-American War, right? But we forget all that because in this great woke society we live in this social experimental military we've induced, our feelings are hurt. Hurt over what? I have no idea. I guess we're hurt because here it was, we'll say for lack of better terms, we'll do the divide. We'll say we had someone serving in the Union that no longer felt the federal government was doing the right thing, opted to go to the Confederacy. Again, we're still Americans, right? At the end of the day, still Americans. Fighting over the 10th Amendment. That's what we're doing, in essence. Now our feelings are hurt because, oh my God, it's a Confederate general. It's also American. But I sit there and look at the military in general, right? Is the military the ultimate warfighter? I don't know, because we're going to take $62.5 million because a bunch of Sallys out there have their feelings hurt and think we should rename bases. Why? Somebody give me a history lesson on Braxton Bragg. Oh, you can't. Did you even know he was from North Carolina? Did you even know he served in the Spanish-American War? Yet you want to be up in arms. So if we're going to change Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty, lame-o, where do we start? When does the Washington Monument become offensive? And we change it to the Liberty Monument. I don't know. When's the Statue of Liberty become offensive? And we change it to the Statue of Wokeness. I don't know. But you're seeing this great social experiment play out in the military where, oh, God forbid you use, hey, guys, oh, I'm offended. Really? Get over it. You're here to fight and win the nation's wars. You're here to be the most lethal fighting force on the world. That's what the military does. It fights this nation's wars. You look at that flag behind me, those red stripes are the blood of our former patriots that have been shed for the very freedom that we have. And if you want to go be a Sally and suck your thumb, go do it somewhere else. But be proud to be an American. Be proud of your history. 620,000 dead Americans over the 10th Amendment. More than any other war we fought. Powerful, right? Americans killing Americans over their beliefs. Let that one sink in. Have we actually ever stood back and taken a look and gone, man, brothers killing brothers? That's how powerfully they felt on this. Yet we just want to throw all that away because we're somehow offended. Offended what? Offended at our history? You can't change it. What do you think we're going to do when Fort Bragg gets changed? It's Fort Bragg, right? But we're going to throw away, and again, it's estimated, so it's probably going to go over, right? $62.5 million. Now, what I don't know with that number, does that include the burden that's going to happen on the states that have these bases there? So for the state of North Carolina, I think the state was saying it was going to cost them $6+ million just to change the signage, like on I-95, right? For what? For who? Who's got their feelings hurt? I never was offended by Fort Bragg. Are we going to start changing the names of the streets on Fort Bragg? Is Long Street no longer going to be Long Street? Is it going to be Liberty Street? I don't know. But at what point do we stop this? At what point do we stop the madness? We're already talking about potentially taking away from DOD budget. But we can sit there and who thinks it's a good idea to take $62.5 million just to change a name? Who's offended? I'm not. I served, right? Is it some Sally that's never put on the uniform? Some Sally that's never been in harm's way, has never done nothing for this country? Yet you got the military doing gender equality crap, right? I identify as I don't know, it or they or whatever they do. I don't know. Who cares? Shut your mouth. You're here to fight wars and win for this country. But I do know, I think it was the Navy. Instead of using terms like, guys, we can say team. Give me a break. Right? Guys is a universal term. Everyone knows that. Especially those that are running the circle. And if your feelings are hurt, I guess you probably shouldn't be in anyway. Because you're probably not going to do the deed when the time comes. So quit with all this social experimental crap. Oh, the military is going to pay for transgender operations. Have you lost your ever-loving mind? Come on, people. This is not the place to go get your experimental stuff done. I want people that are going to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. How about them apples? When they're called, hey, man, you've got to go into harm's way to defend this country. Roger that. Stepping up to the plate, and here we go. Versus, you're hurting my feelings. Please don't say that. Give me a break. Because you've got this soft, woke society that's what's going to happen when these savages who aren't bring down the hammer and things get bad. But you've just done nothing but make softness out of the military. The military does not have to align itself with all these social idiocies that's going on, for lack of better terms. It doesn't matter. What the military needs to do is be prepared, because right now we're in the peacetime, in theory. Be prepared. What is that next fight we're going to have? Let's say the Chinese get sporty. Think we're going to beat them? Think we got the people to? What are you going to do when the Chinese start pumping some propaganda? Oh, they're hurting my feelings. Give me a break. You better figure out how to shut it down. But I'm just amazed that none of our leaders have a spine. No, we're not going to change our base names. We're going to keep them like they are. How about we know some history? How about we pass that on? At what point do we just start changing everything? That's what you have to worry about, my fellow Americans. At what point does the name Hogg become offensive to somebody and I need to change it? One could argue in certain religions that Hogg's a dirty animal. We don't like your name, it's offensive. Really? And you sit there and go, Rick, you've lost your mind. Have I? Braxton Bragg being pulled. A fellow American changed his name. At a cost to you and me. We're paying for it. Our tax dollars are going to that. So versus that $62.5 million going to build better warfighters, better equip them, better train them, and to go programs to help our veterans, to help whatever, help our service members. Nope. We're doing it to change some signage, to change some letterhead. Give me a break. America, you need to wake up. I think it's not too late. I think we can put a stop to it. The only way is you got to pick up that phone. You got to type out that email. Hit those elected officials that are supposed to work for you and tell them, no, we don't want to change it. I don't want $62.5 million of my hard-earned money, our hard-earned money, going to change it. Invest it back into those service members that are fighting for us. That's a novel concept. Anyway, guys, be proactive. Try to make some change. It's not too late. I think they got till the end of supposedly 2023. And I would presume they'll probably drag it out till the very last minute. So hopefully we got a way to change it, at least with the new House of Representatives in there. Maybe. Tell them you want your war fighters to be hard. You want your war fighters to be trained. You want your war fighters to be equipped. You want your war fighters to be taken care of. You don't want to arbitrarily be part of the problem, wasting $62.5 million estimated just to change some signage because some Sally got their feelings hurt. Stay strong, my fellow Americans. Make sure you guys are doing your dry fire training. Have a plan with the firearm training notebook. Don't forget to work out. Look for that act of kindness and be grateful. I'm grateful Fort Bragg still called Fort Bragg. Let's keep it that way. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless our troops in Fort Bragg. And God bless the United States of America. Rick, Duco, and Braxton Bragg out.